What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be taking a look at the Danny Ketch Ghost Rider. So this is one that I'm certainly excited about. Let's see what we've got going on. Let's check it out.
I'm being erased, I'm being replaced. Counter-culture's in your face. Trying to pretend that you want it to end. I'd rather be drinking with my friends. When we go out, you'll never see us again.
As promised, today we'll be taking a look at Danny Ketch's Ghost Rider. Let's see what we've got going on. Taking a look at the package, of course, we're continuing the 85-year anniversary summer program here. You've got the nice box design. Everything looks really clean. Bike fits in there nicely. Ghost Rider's in there nicely. So, all right, Ghost Rider, Marvel, 85 years, Marvel Legends, logo at the top there. Flip it to the side. You've got some imagery there, nice comic book imagery followed by the 85-year logo. Flip it to the back. You've got a nice large image of the figure in action. You can see this is a great looking picture. You've got the fire effects on there as well. Some diagrams to show you how to use these accessories. You've got all this going on. This looks great. You've got important information at the bottom, your blurb over there. I think this is the first one in the 85 years that actually has a blurb. So I wish they would have been doing that all along. And when I say first, the first one that I have. So Superior Spider-Man Wolverine didn't have a blurb there. But when Danny Ketch crosses paths with a cursed motorcycle, he is transformed into the spirit of vengeance, wielding supernatural powers as Ghost Rider. That's what's up. Flip it to this side. No images over here. Let's get them out of the box. Fresh out of the box, we get this version of Danny Ketch Ghost Rider, the one to take the mantle after Johnny Blaze. Certainly, as a kid in the 90s, this was the vision of Ghost Rider for me, right? Although, like, I kind of still prefer Johnny Blaze just in, like, that aesthetic wise, yeah, but there's something quintessentially 90s about this, spikes and chains and all, so I am absolutely here for it and certainly glad that I am getting to add this to the display. Figure wise, kind of looks, you know, like a more updated version of the retro carded Ghost Rider, which was on the same body as that Ultimate Riders version of Ghost Rider. A little bit modified, so there's not like a whole lot of anything that stands out as far as the body looks just out of the box. But from here I can see like lots of nice detail in there to give it that sort of raised leathery look. Details in the jeans, so we'll get in closer, we'll take a look at that, see what's going on with it, and break it down from there. Bike out of the box, just to go over that. So you do have a porthole and your peg here, so your handlebar will just pop right on nice and easily, just as such. Down here for your foot pedals, you do have two ports, so you can go like with the more forward area, or if you want it a little more to the rear, you can port it in there. And then you do have your porthole for your flame effect to give it that sort of riding upward look as you see on the box there. So cool. Well, some options, right? The front shield will slide right in, so you can see you have your opening there. And then that just slides right on. That looks nice. Got some battle damage in there. Pretty cool. And then, of course, your flame effect will pour it in right there, and it'll give it the ability to stand up. I like it. It's a nice touch, right? Gives you a little bit a better option for displaying. You know, you got a couple of bikes on the shelf. Now you can get one kind of, you know, doing a wheelie. Yeah, I'm here for it. You've got your flame effects as well. So your larger one will sit on your back tire. So you can just pop that right on and it just sits in there. And then conversely, the smaller one will just sit on the front tire. And there's not a whole lot you got to do. They just kind of sit right in there. So that's good. Obviously, if you want to make a combo of things, you can port in your flame effect down here and have your back tire on fire back there. So that's cool. It would be cool if this works out to where you can have like all of the flames on there. I guess it's not terrible, but maybe work something out there just to give it that little extra oomph. Moving in closer, we get a good look at that head sculpt. I think the first Ultimate Riders, the Johnny Blaze with the bike, that head sculpt is still the best Ghost Rider head sculpt that they've done from Hasbro, right? This one's good. I like how they've at least added some paint on top of there to give it more depth, because the retro carded one kind of left that out and felt a little bit underwhelming. Still looks good because it's like a flaming skull, right? But yeah, this one is I would say a meat right in between those two, right? It's got a little bit of detail, but not as good as that other Johnny Blaze head sculpt. All right, you've got the mandible that will move on its own, so I do like that they do that. It's definitely a little bit on the softer side at the bottom there, so one that could probably break off a little bit easier, but so far so good. You've got some paint in the back of the eyes there that really add a nice layer of depth back there into those flaming eyes. Some great translucent plastic up here. This looks so nice. You got the neck, those bones in there looking good. The amount of detail and just aesthetic in there is so good. Like I'm digging that, and I wish that we got that with like everything. But I know. All right, chain hangs on there. It is a separate piece, movable in and of its own. You've got the spikes all the way around, super 90s stuff. So digging that. Like I was saying, you have this good texturing in the leather that just gives it that sort of realistic look to it. I mean, it definitely looks like leather in plastic form, so I like that. Because there's not a lot of paint and color going on outside of the face, right? So you're on a black jacket, you've got straight gray pants. Those also have some texture to them, some sculpted in detail. You can see his wallet in the pocket back there. You've got the wrinkles. Boots the same. So without there being, any sort of pop to it, the leather look just it pulls off nicely with that sort of textured detail and adding the metal accessories to the costume. For your hands, you do get your open set of hands, so these are going to be good for holding the handlebars, sort of like modified trigger fingers almost, but I think the right call for the bike riding. And then alternately, you get an open hand and a closed fist. So those are your options, right? You got the rider hands, which are probably the ones that most people are going to use. But if you want some options, you do have a fist and your open hand there. For your accessory, we do get the chain whip that we've received with several Ghost Riders at this time. So you've got a few of these, or if it's your first Ghost Rider, you've now got one of these, right? So I don't see any harm, any foul in giving us this, right? It seems an appropriate option, and it is an effective accessory. As far as articulation goes, he will look down only a little bit. You're not getting a ton of downward range on this head sculpt, nor are you getting much upward. So certainly could use a little bit more in the articulation department. Obviously, the mold is going to be what is hindering you, but I'm sure there is a way to better work that. The jaw does move individually, so you do get that, which, I mean, that's a cool touch. We got it on the previous Ghost Rider, so it would make sense to have that here as well. Head will move side to side. You could get it all the way around and tear the jaw off at the same time, so please keep that in mind. It is a fairly soft piece there, so it pops in and out. It's not great, but at least it went back on, and it is not for any worse there. All right, arm will move all the way around. It goes up to about there. Upper bicep cut double jointed pinless at the elbow, nothing at the forearm, and then your hinge at the wrist. Ab crunch, waist swivel, leg kicks up to about there, only back to about there, and then out to about there. You are on a drop down hip, upper thigh cut, double jointed pinless at the knee, boot cut, and then your hinge and swivel at the ankle. No significant gaps. All in all, pretty decent. That jaw's a little bit worrisome, but do what you want with that. A closer look at the bike here, we can get an idea of what kind of detail is in there. So we're working with a flat black here, not a lot of accentuation, but you do have some details on there. So some silver chromed highlights for sure. You've got the battle damage molded in on the shield at the front there. Not a whole lot. I mean, they probably could have got a little more detail in the bike, maybe little scratches, dents, whatever, just to add a little bit of accentuation. But other than that, I mean, it is a black bike, you know, and it certainly captures the essence. You do have some color details in there to provide a little bit of pop and contrast. And of course, the wheels, I think they look really good. It's that translucent plastic, gets me every time. I don't know. And you do have like the yellow to highlight the flame as well. So in the render, they did show some white in addition to the yellow highlight. That doesn't really come through here. Maybe a little bit more on this one, but certainly differs from the render, which, I mean, happens all the time. Not a whole lot going on at the bottom. You can see a little bit more of the metallic through the undercarriage there. And then, of course, the seat. So it definitely represents the bike. It looks good for what it is. Does it have as much detail as, say, this? No. I mean, you could argue that this Johnny bike doesn't have a ton of detail either, but this one certainly doesn't have much more going on than the basic color design there. But all in all, I do think it looks pretty good, and based on the picture at the end of the video, I think it looks good on the shelf. Quick on the bike comparison, so we can see Danny on his bike here, then of course here's Johnny on his bike, and here they are side by side, so you can get an idea of how they're going to look next to each other, if that's where you're going, or if you're going to have them on separate shelves. Just a good size comparison of the two. I think they look great together. I'm not sure how I'm going to do this in the display, but this is just a good look right now. For comparison between our Ghost Riders, you can see here Johnny's a little bit taller than Danny. Gives you an idea how your height is going to play out for your displays here. When I was talking about the skulls earlier, this is what I was talking about. So just a lot of better color detailing on this one, but this one is certainly a little bit better than the retro carded Johnny Blaze that we got a little over a year ago, maybe 2 years ago at this point. But yeah, so they look pretty good together, though. It's good to get, you know, a more updated version of the character, more updated body sculpt and everything. But they still look nice together, and you know, it's going to pan out pretty well in a display. All right, folks. Well, there you have it. There is your 85-year program, Danny Ketch Ghost Rider. A figure I'm certainly glad to have. As far as the design of the costume goes, I mean, there's not really a lot else that could be done, right? I think they captured it pretty well. It is a fairly monochromatic look, you know, so the color pop is the fire, right? And that translucent orange plastic looks great on this figure. Head sculpt looks good. Still prefer the original Johnny Blaze Ultimate Rider version, but I do like how this head sculpt came out. It's got a great amount of realism to it, and it does have the neck that is the actual skeleton as opposed to the flame neck. So I like it. I think it's going to look really good on the shelf. These bike accessories are nice. I like that we can get it in that wheelie pose. That is going to stand out on a shelf. So certainly something that I am here for. Accessory wise, we got an extra set of hands. We got the chain whip. Personally, I think that's good enough for me. Not a whole lot more that I need from this, but I can certainly understand if you'd like to see a little bit more in there. But I do think for the price point and where we are with Marvel Legends, this was pretty on par. I mean, it was good. Unlike that Destiny 2-pack that's coming up that just has hands, right? So if we're using that for some sort of basis of comparison, yeah, this is right on the money for me. So I'm all good with it. Folks, that's the 2 cents. Hopefully you got something out of it. Hopefully you appreciated this. I appreciate you for checking out this video and staying this long if you have. Of course, you can always find me on any of these socials down here. Most importantly, though, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe below. And until next time, take it easy.